Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm Cadence Kidwell. This is Sarah DeRoo. I'll introduce Sarah in just a moment, but you have popped in on our Buzzy Turns 10 birthday celebration, and we couldn't pick a better way to celebrate it than to have Copper Corgi, aka Sarah DeRoo. It is a little cloudy and overcast today, so if it goes in and out, we apologize for that. The recap should probably be better. And I don't have one microphone, so we're not wearing one, so we'll just talk loud, okay. Which is easy for me to do. Yep. You're a mom, you probably talk loud too. Yeah, you probably have a loud voice. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we are so excited to host my friend, Sarah. She has been a former Georgian. Mm-hmm. So when we first found her, actually, I first found your yarn in a shop in Macon. You had their custom color. Yes. And I hadn't opened my shop yet, but I was thinking about it.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
It was. Mm-hmm. It was over 10 years ago now.
That shop's not there anymore.
It's not. And I was like, oh my gosh, could I have a custom color?
Yeah.
I didn't even think that was a thing. And I didn't even think, like, I know you.
Yeah, I didn't think that custom colors would be such a big part of my life.
Well, especially this one here.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so this is WestJack Kid. We call it WestJack Kid. Oh, I didn't bring a skein. You got a skein in there?
No, it's right there.
Okay. Yeah. So you created this color. I ran some numbers. We have sold 247 kits.
Yeah.
For we made a kit like this to make the Reina. But we've sold 370 fingering bases.
Yeah.
And then 161 on other bases. Altogether, it is 778 skeins.
Wow. I was thinking about it this morning and I thought it must be close to 1,000. So yeah, we're getting
like that.
That's incredible.
That's a lot.
If I had known I was going to die this 1,000 times.
So we're so flattered that you're here. I know. I hope you don't ever say like, okay, enough. No, I mean, we do have some other custom colors, which I love a lot.
I've got it down now.
Yeah. Okay. So before I ask you some of these other questions, tell us about. You used to say that you had to be out in the driveway and splattering
I did. So this was we put this color together 9 years ago, probably.
Yeah.
And I was still playing with what methods of dyeing I really like to do. And so this one is a couple of different methods put together where I do a series of dipping the yarn in different kettles like 3 times. And then I lay it all out on my driveway and I spray it with this sort of orangey reddish color to get sort of the speckled look. Hold it.
We don't want the camera to fall over, but there you go.
Yeah, so it's a multi-step process, and then after that, I have to reset it with heat again. So it's kind of
it's got a lot of love. And you all love it.
Yeah,
778.
It's pretty good.
Okay, so we have some Dyer questions for you that we want to ask you about, and of course, our fuzzy fans want to know about the name Copper Corgi.
Oh yeah, so a corgi is in my logo. It's a dog. And again, back when I started about 13 years ago, I had a dog, a corgi, and she's a reddish color. And I originally wanted to name my business Brick House Dye Works, but there's actually someone who already had that business name. So I looked at my dog, look how cute, and boom, logo. Again, another, in hindsight, maybe, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't have named my business after a dog, but that's okay. That dog is gone. I have another corgi now.
We used to have boxers, and then we had the backup boxer.
Yeah, so I'm on corgi number 2 now, and his name is Apollo. And yeah, that's the story.
Yeah,
there.
but you know, it's a better story, I think, and I don't know the brick house, so I'm sorry, but I think that this is memorable.
I agree. The brick house is sort of a flat name, and this, people ask me about it all the time. It's a conversation starter. So
we get asked that a lot too about Fuzzy Goat.
Yeah.
And I remember my husband saying, "You're going to name it after a sheep with a sheep," and I'm like, a lot of them are named after sheep. They're cute, but they're not very many after goats.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. And now the whole GOAT thing.
Right, and then that happened.
That really worked out.
I didn't know that was coming.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not originally from the South. Mm-mm. So what brought you to Savannah first?
I'm from Maryland. I grew up in Maryland. And In high school and college, I sort of fell in love with the idea of Savannah. I visited there on spring break.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I read Midnight and Governor Good and Evil, and then my older sister moved there just coincidentally right around the time that I was graduating from college. So I wanted to get my master's degree at SCAD, which is the art college in Savannah. So I moved down. Actually ended up not going to SCAD. I just got a job straight in my field, which is awesome. And I was there for about 13 years and made a nice little life for myself there.
And then you moved to...
Yeah, I got married in Savannah, and then my husband got a job in Florida. I know we live on the east coast of Florida, around Melbourne and Cape Canaveral.
It's like
area.
the
Space Coast.
The Space Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any yarn named after that or inspired by
The
that?
space? No.
Okay. I just wondered.
I should, though. I'm not a space person.
Yeah.
I just been married to one.
So I hate to say this, but I'm not a sports fan either. Yeah. So there's some things we just have to admit.
Yeah.
To be true to ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay. Which brings me to, what do you watch or listen to when you're dyeing?
Yeah, there is quite a lot of sort of downtime in the dyeing process, and it mostly is when I'm like winding the yarn after it's dried and labeling it. So I do listen to a lot of podcasts. I like to listen to comedy podcasts. I like to laugh. My favorite one right now, and it's been my favorite for a long time, is do you know Paula Poundstone?
Yes.
Stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
From way back. So she's got a really funny podcast that's been going on for years. I never missed an episode of it. It's called Nobody Listens to Paula Poundstone. And I also like Conan O'Brien's podcast, and there's another one called Love It or Leave It, which is a little bit political and just keep me busy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you were telling me last night about how labor intensive, not just the dyeing, but the scanning is.
Yeah, so when I'm dyeing, I kind of have to pay attention because I'm writing out recipes and following recipes and measuring and keeping track of what's going in what pot. But when the yarn is dry and it needs to be wound, I have a little machine that kind of twists it up for me, and I have to kind of like lean down and grab it, and it twists, and it's just sort of a really, it doesn't take much of my brain power.
Yeah.
So I'm able to listen to whatever I want and kind of tune out to that.
So this is an old lady question, but like, how do you take care of your back doing that? Like, just watching you do that makes my back hurt. Or if you haven't thought about it yet, I'm going to encourage you to think about it.
It does hurt my back. As the years keep coming, it is increasingly a problem. So I can only do a little bit of the time.
Sit up straight
I'll do it for like 15 minutes, and I'll get up and I'll do something else. I also do a lot of exercising.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So yeah, let's do a little sidebar. Talk about that, because you since I've known you, you have started marathons.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, in the last 10 years plus, I've had sort of a little bit of a lifestyle change. I've gotten really into exercise and healthy lifestyle because in 2014, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and I kind of needed to figure something out to maybe alter my course for the better. And I had a little baby at the time, and I started doing a kids stroller exercise class with her. And then that just kind of went on from there. And that baby is 11 now. And I've gone from doing just little exercise classes every day to I started running, and I did a 5K, and I did a 10K, and I did a half marathon, and then a marathon. And then I got into triathlons. I don't want to bore you with this.
No, it's inspiring. You and Melissa will have a lot to talk about.
Oh, cool. So triathlons is my big thing right now. So that's swimming, biking, and running.
Okay.
And so yeah, I do a lot of strength exercise for triathlon, and that keeps me healthy in life. And dyeing yarn is labor intensive, and winding yarn is labor intensive. And yes, that's what I've been up to.
So I knew that you were dying for MS, but I guess I made assumptions that it was like somebody you cared dearly about. Well, I know, right? I didn't know.
Yeah, it's
that
me.
It was you.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, it's me. When my daughter was really little, I started having just strange symptoms were occurring. I couldn't explain. Like, I had a strange muscle spasm, and my vision was messed up, and this was going on for about 3 weeks. And I saw all manner of doctors, and I finally ended up seeing a neurologist. And yeah, I was diagnosed with MS. But I really feel like I have a good hold on it. Like, literally have changed my life for the better in a healthy way.
Wow.
Yeah. So I just got to keep sort of chasing that next goal to keep myself healthy.
Don't you guys just love knowing the story? Like, if you know, we love the yarn, but there's a human being making these yarns. All right, let's go along with that. And there's this question that we have on I can't find it right now, but it's like, how do you blend it, your dyeing, with the causes that you care about?
So yes, the National Multiple Sclerosis Society is a cause that is very close to my heart.
Yeah.
I want to be healthy for my children as long as I can, and I want that for every person with multiple sclerosis. So along with my dyeing and my exercising, I participate in Bike MS, which is a national event that happens. People raise money from MS, we go on a bike ride, it's very fun. So I do one that's in Florida every year, and I create a yarn every single year to raise money for my bike ride. I've been doing it for 5 years now. And I call it Crush MS, and this is this year's color.
I mean, when I was unpacking it, it was really hard to put it all on the table.
I have it in glitzy and in non-glitzy, and it's blues and greens, and then it kind of goes with last year's color. This is Crush MS 2023, and yeah, like I said, I've been doing this for a couple years. So here's another one. I have 4 years worth of colors here today at Fuzzy Goat. There's one more. So yeah, the proceeds from sales of this yarn go to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. I raise quite a bit of money every year with it. I'm pretty proud of it.
I can see why.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So how you're choosing those colors, or any of your colors? Are you filling gaps? Like, okay, wait, I don't have a green, or is it like, I just love orange, or on your run you see this flower and oh my gosh, I got to do that.
A lot of it is definitely inspired by the flora around me.
Okay.
When I lived in Savannah, Savannah is very similar to here in Thomasville. Lots of dark greens and grays. So I had a lot of dark greens and grays back then. And now I live in Florida and things are much brighter. There's like tropical flowers everywhere. I have a lot of brighter colors nowadays. I do tend to lean a lot towards blues and greens. Quite a few of my colors.
But oh my gosh,
you know what? Everyone else likes it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I sort of just see, what I go with what people tend to like. I dye a color, it does really well. I keep dyeing it. I dye another color. I think it looks cool. Generally, people don't like it. It just sort of falls off.
Yeah.
Gotta go with the trends.
Yeah. So what inspires your names, your yarn names?
Yeah.
Like, talk about this one. So tell them what I'm wearing.
That's Long Road to Key
Yes.
West. Yeah, that was, we took a trip to Key West.
Yeah, and it is a long road.
It is so far.
I grew up in Miami. It was far even from there.
You're in Miami, you're only part of it. You're barely there. So yeah, that whole long road, greens, blues. I mean, it just perfect. Okay. That one just this just went with what we happened to be doing at the time. This one is called Plumeria. It's the flower we see all over the place in Florida. This one is Everglades and Peacock. Really like the colors on the peacock feather. And actually, I wanted to say, I have a little story about these two colors. This is Peacock and this is Cashmere. And these actually are really similar in the dye process colors. This is one of my very first colors that I started doing 14 years ago. And it was and still is my most popular color.
Is it really?
Yeah.
And we love it, but I didn't know everybody else did too.
Everybody loves it. And so about the 5-year mark, I was looking to change things up with my method. And so I took my most popular color. I made one tiny tweak to the dye process and Cashmere appeared. And now this is quickly becoming my second most popular color. So these two are based in the same dye process, almost exactly the same dyes for one small tweak. And they make these beautiful bluey, greeny blues.
And we have that together.
So cool.
And I didn't even know that. In Waiting for Rain. So there's beautiful ones with much more dramatic yarn options, contrast. But
I like that.
I like those too.
Very cool.
Yeah, those would be good together. So what's your favorite method to dye? Because you were saying that.
Yeah, right. So I call it dry dipping.
Okay.
Not to get too into the minutia of how you dye yarn, but basically you need to sort of clean and wet the yarn before you dye it so you can get a nice even color. Well, I was doing that for years and years and years, and I was like, why do I want a nice even color? Like, that's no fun. I kind of want it to be a little bit marled and different colors, and so I skipped a step and I stopped washing and pre-wetting.
Okay.
And I started dyeing my yarns dry. And that kind of created like a really splotchy, uneven color all over the yarn. But then I sort of took that and I keep dyeing it in different colors and layering the colors over each other until the white is covered up, and let me see if this one has a better example of different colors. This one. This is a series of dips in different color kettles that give you layers of color. That's what I call my dry dip.
That's fascinating.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, because we don't buy indie hand-dyed, labor-intensive yarn for it to be completely uniform.
Exactly the same. That's no
then you're not aware that a person put all that time into it. So let's talk about what you do for fun and relaxing.
Yeah.
You're a mom, so I don't know.
2 kids.
Maybe you have a lot of that.
I have 2 kids, but I do a lot of exercise.
Okay.
It's gonna make me sound so lame, but yeah, that's my whole life right now. Like right now, I'm training for an Ironman triathlon, which is like it's a long day, and that's in 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I've been
I'm
training
really
for
glad
that
you're here.
for months.
Thank you. We're privileged to get you out of the routine for a moment.
Yeah. So every day, for a couple hours a day, I'm either swimming or biking or running or strength training or taking care of my children.
Okay. And you made one trip over when you were pregnant with Milo.
Yeah, Milo. He's 8 now.
Gosh.
He's in 3rd grade. It's crazy. Yeah, and Cora was a toddler back then. She's 11 now.
And she wrote one box that you sent for a birthday. I remember she wrote on the box, "Happy birthday." Yeah, it was really sweet.
I hope I can get her more involved in the business soon. She's always asking me how she can make money. And I'm like, well, I've got some ideas.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I don't want to do that.
So, I skipped one here. I wanted to ask you about any dyeing disasters. Everybody loves a good disaster story.
Well, the nice thing about the dyeing process is a lot of things can be turned into happy accidents.
Well, the same thing with knitting.
Yeah. So I usually write everything down, the process of what I'm doing, so I can remember or see maybe where the accident happened. And then I'm like, it came out like a kind of an ugly color. It came out very splotchy. Just dye it again.
Yeah.
And now it's a great color. So it's kind of nice. It's pretty forgiving business.
Yeah. I like that. I mean, it just continues what we often say about our own knitting. Is like, I made a mistake. How can I fix that or go with it? Or if the worst, I just rip back. You can use it again. It's not like fabric and you cut it up.
Exactly. You didn't cut it. It's not a perishable thing.
Right.
It's not bad.
Yeah. Do it again.
Doing something else.
So what is your favorite color? You said the peacock and cashmere.
Yeah, they're up there for sure. But actually my favorite color is this rosability color. It really is. It's a series of different colored dyes that you would not ever think would produce something so beautiful, and it came out so wonderful, and it consistently does. It's got dark reds, peaches, and kind of a greeny yellow color. I love dyeing this color, and it always the yarn always takes the colors up really nicely. Look at that! Oh, this is the sport weight one,
This is the sport weight, Rosability.
Nice, beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, it's an excellent color.
I love it when you send me like several new colors that you've just made, and it's like one of these could be your custom color if you want.
Yeah,
and it's like, we're taking that one.
Yeah, but some days I'll have that where I'm just gonna make 8 different colors.
Yeah.
And I know some colors will work for some stores and da-da-da. Yeah.
So you don't have a lot of time for knitting. Yeah. So what if you were to have time or think back to knitting, what is your favorite pattern?
I like to knit sweaters for sure. I knit this.
Okay.
I knit this.
Yes. Yeah.
This is the rocket tee.
Oh, that's a popular one.
Yeah. And somebody, a friend of mine knit it out of my my yarns, my Shoreline silk yarn a couple of years ago, and they showed it to me, and it was right before a show that I had in Maryland, and I was blown away. They're like, I made this out of your yarns. It took only one skein of each color. What do you think? And I was like, that is fantastic. Can I wear it as a sample for the show that I had at the time? I wore it. It performed fantastically as a sample, and it's nice and easy to wear, easy, comfy. You can make it long, you can make it short.
I like that.
So I made one of my own.
Can I reach over and touch you? I like the I-cord edge.
Yeah, it's so cute.
It's so
and the
finished.
yarn itself, the Shoreline silk yarn, it softens up each time you wear it. So every time I put it on, I'm like, oh, it's even better now.
And how do you wash that? Because that's really interesting too.
I washed it in the washing machine.
Okay.
I mean,
Melissa's over there listening.
Yeah.
Melissa, how many rocket tees have you made? Just one or?
Just one rocket tee, yeah.
Okay.
it's fun.
Yeah.
I love stripe. I mean, knitting stripes is the
Yeah,
best.
I like stripes too. Keeps you going.
Just one more stripe. Just one more stripe.
So what is your most handy item in your Notion bag?
Oh man, let's see. You can't go wrong with stitch markers. I have stitch markers everywhere. They're in my couch cushions.
Yeah.
They're in between my car seats. And I tend to knit with really fingering weight yarn, really thin yarn. So I use really thin needles. So I like just like a nice, real basic stitch marker like these guys here. You have a bunch of them, and each one isn't super precious. It's okay if it goes between the couch cushions, and it fits nicely on thinner needles. So yeah, stitch markers.
Yeah.
These are pretty.
Yeah, we had those for our birthday. Bases. I wanted to talk to you about your base because you have, like, nobody else has your base,
Yeah.
which is really cool.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
And your Savannah sock went up in yardage.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
It went up in yardage.
Yeah.
You used to get 460, which was huge.
Yeah, it just has to do with how they work.
Now you get 490 yards. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. You can make a pretty large scarf, a large pair of socks with one skein of yarn.
And it's got a really good, super tight twist to it, which
really
is
tight.
great that you called it Savannah socks, so that even though it doesn't have nylon in it, it wears really well in socks.
Yes, people use it for socks, absolutely. The no nylon, the very tight ply in the yarn keeps it very durable. Socks is one of the things I really do enjoy knitting. It's a super portable project. So I had my very first yarn. I had to find a good sock yarn. And that one's been my staple since day one, Savannah sock. And then a couple of years later, I added on the glitzy version. It's the same exact base, but it has a thread of sort of the shimmery lurex going through it. And it takes dye very nicely. So in a green yarn, it becomes a green shimmer, and a red yarn becomes a red shimmer.
And that's unusual because a lot of times the glitzy yarn, the glitz doesn't take the dye.
Stays the color that it is. I know, it's such a cool,
that's really
such
cool.
a special base. And then since I've moved to Florida, I've added sort of a summer base, which is my Shoreline silk that I've talked about a couple times. It's, I love...
those are the two colors you're wearing.
Yeah, I love a wool, but it's pretty warm in Florida. So I needed a more light, beachy, kind of cottony feeling yarn, and that's what it's a silk noil yarn, so it's more of a rustic silk. And like I said, every time you work with it and every time you wear it, it gets softer and softer. I love it. It's done very well.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And what the sport? Talk about the sport.
Yeah,
because when we first started with you, we got the sport. Then we couldn't find very many sport patterns, so we stopped. And you would say, do you want some sport? And you said you were holding on to it because...
Yeah.
And now I'm really glad you did, because now we're ordering sport again.
Sport is back.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah. That's another one I've had for a while, this Ogeechee Sport. And it's very, very soft. My mother likes to use it to make gifts for new babies. And it's super wash, so it washes up pretty well in the wash machine. And I'll let you know the secret. If worsted ever becomes huge again, I have the same base in worsted.
Oh, do you really? Okay. Well, we can make it big.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would love to have some of these colors on a worsted.
Yeah, I can do that too.
Absolutely. And what is the strangest place you've ever knitted? Or a dream trip that you'd like to take and knit?
If you're outside of the knitting environment, if you're not at a yarn show or a yarn retreat, anywhere that you're knitting is weird. Like everyone is like,
we're on a mission to make it not.
Like,
But
what
yeah.
are you weaving? Like, I'm
Yeah.
not weaving. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I knit when I'm getting a pedicure, I knit when I'm on the plane, and I always feel like I'm getting looks. And that's okay. I don't know what people do with downtime who don't knit. What do you do? I can only look at my phone so much, you know?
So I was in a city meeting this week and I was knitting, and I can't say for sure, but I'm going to think most of those people were looking at me going, gosh, I wish I had something to do
Right.
during this
So
meeting.
bored.
Because we were just waiting for our turn to talk.
Yeah.
And I was like, all
A
right.
nice little quiet
Yeah,
project.
yeah, I'm getting going on it.
But as far as traveling, I would really love to go to Shetland Wool Week. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's like, it's coming up at the end of September. It's a whole festival in Shetland of really intense yarn classes and visits to farms and visits to the woolen mill, and that is definitely.
Oh, I'm going to get this over here because you're spinning.
Yeah, I'm a spinner too. So this time I brought some spinning fiber for if there's any spinners out there. I have two kinds. I have this is merino, and I also have cotton, which is pretty unusual to have in the spinning fiber. So I'm a spinner. I learned how to spin a while ago, and you were telling me you learned how to spin on a drop spin.
Yeah, that was not the best
So
way. Yeah,
frustrating.
okay. So I'm going to try
The big
another way.
wooden drop spin, like when I hit the floor multiple
yeah. It
times.
wasn't fun for me.
Yeah, so I have a spinning wheel, and I find spinning to be one of the most relaxing things you can do, because it's just the motion of the fiber through your fingers. You kind of don't have to think about it. You don't have to follow a pattern, and you can keep the sound of the whirring wheel. It's very meditative.
Oh.
It's very relaxing.
All right.
I've got lots of colors.
That's a good case for that.
Yeah, right.
We're going to have the links up for all of these. If you're watching this live or you're watching on Saturday, on Sunday, we're going to have the links up for everything. But if you're nearby, come and look in person. Yeah, because we're going to be celebrating. Sarah's going to be here. You can meet Sarah. We have some of our favorite samples behind her. This one, I think we need to conspire some more.
Yeah.
This is
That's the Wonder Woman, right?
Yeah, the Wonder Woman. We did this for a birthday once. And those
So
two
many
colors.
birthdays.
Yeah.
So cool. Yeah,
And
that's
that's
gonna
a
be
Savannah sock. And then this is Rosabilly here. That one is, I love that one. And let's see. Oh, we have several of Melissa's over here too.
So many.
Yeah, we do. We have a
Samples.
lot of samples over here.
Oh, this is the rocket tee.
Yeah, that's the rocket tee
Without
stripes.
That's pretty cool.
And then last year, Melissa and I both knit
Oh,
the
yeah.
Westbourne with your
Oh,
yarn.
that's so cool the way you use the mohair.
Yeah.
There. Oh wow.
And you've also been part of our Good Vibes boxes and our Fuzzy Fixes. And so we've had this in a Good Vibes. That was a custom set you did for us.
Yes.
And then this one too.
Oh, wow. Man, these are great samples.
So we have lots more. Madeline put some up yesterday as photographs. So we have the links for all the patterns up there. And let's see. I'm wearing lattice or braid is the one, and I chose the braid down the sleeve. And yes, I finished it. And we'll fix all that. Yeah, Sarah's bringing another one.
This is a skein of
shoreline
shoreline silk. This is one of Hohi's patterns. It's called the Storm Shawl. And this is in the color Low Tide, one of the most popular colors in this base right now.
How many skeins?
It's one skein.
That's one skein?
Yeah.
That's huge.
One skein for this nice, big, airy, stuff it in your bag, put it over your shoulders when you go inside and the air conditioning is on full blast shawl.
Perfect.
I've made a t-shirt out of this shoreline silk too. I didn't.
Oh, man.
Oh, well, yeah, Melissa's done some stuff in the shoreline silk too.
Great t-shirt.
I'm also wearing our new birthday bandana, which we made
Cute.
from our Billie fabric, and we workshopped it one day in the lodge with the social knitters to make sure that we had the right size and all that. So we have several of those
That's
too,
so cool.
and other birthday swag. So come visit us if you can, and we will get the links up to the pop-up and all of those. Just be a little patient with us. And you can also call and text us at 229-236-GOAT, and we are happy to help you. And thank you so much, Sarah, for being here to celebrate with us today.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank all of you too for being here. All right.